entertainment responsible for perpetuating a rape culture?
Yeah, I think the media is responsible for perpetuating a rape culture. And, you know, I mean, it's profitable for the people at the top who run the rape culture, you know, who run it, and, you know, they profit from it, and to say otherwise would be a big fat lie. But so, you know, they don't want any kind of power shifted away from the way they have it set up in a very hierarchical manner with, you know, women's free labor at the bottom, largely slave labor, at the bottom of that big pyramid.
You've been a Hollywood insider for so long, yet you've been vocal for so long. I mean, how challenging is it to see your colleagues across Hollywood lacking for the Obama administration when they have so much power and influence that they could single-handedly shape the dialogue when so many people are watching them?
Well, I think that, you know, this is a culture of fear, and nobody's more afraid than people in Hollywood. They're afraid that they'll drop out of the top, you know, they're afraid that they'll drop from the bottom of the pyramid, maybe to the middle of the pyramid. But, you know, they're the ones, Hollywood is the one that keeps all this power structure and all this culture of racism and sexism and classism and genderism and all of it in place. They continually feed it, and they make a lot of money doing it. And they do it at the behest of their masters who run everything. So, you know, they're not going to get brave enough to do that. I mean, I think that there aren't many of us who are brave enough to do that. And I'm just, you know, I'm lucky that I can do it, and I feel that I do it on behalf of many people in Hollywood too. I go to Hollywood parties, or, you know, occasionally I go to Oscar parties and things like that, and people, big stars, people will grab me by the arm and take me aside and say, "I just want to thank you for the things you say." And it blows my mind, but that's the culture. It's a culture of fear for sure. You know, and it's a big culture of mind control too. MK Ultra mind control rules in Hollywood. If you don't know, Google that and look into it.
Well, we've talked about Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra mind control stuff from, I mean, this goes back decades and decades. But Roseanne, I mean, do you know people have been blacklisted? I mean, is it just kind of a self-censorship in Hollywood, or do people actually get edged out if they are too much against the grain?
Yeah, it's self-censorship after a while, but it's not just a crazy self-censorship. It's self-censorship because there's actually a danger that you will never work again. And people know it. Everybody has friends that it happened to, that maybe you said too much, or maybe you were too vocal on unpopular issues. And it's funny because it doesn't matter if 2 years later, I find this a lot, that 2 years later those unpopular issues become very mainstream. They still don't forgive the first person who does it. And that's kind of been my story there. When you're first, you're you know, going to be vilified, despite the fact that 2 years later everybody's saying what you said. You're still going to be vilified because you dared. And you know, like they say, the Chinese, you know, the Chinese have a myth or a saying that says the nail that stands up is hammered down, and that's how it is here and everywhere in the world. Right. You know, you don't really want to put yourself at odds with people who decide your future and pay, you know, for your work. But sometimes you have to. And I was very lucky that I had a successful show that made me a lot of money, and so that I can do that. And I feel that I owe that to the people I came from, to say those things that maybe they can't say because they're afraid they'll be fired, or they're afraid even that they'll be put in jail or whatever. I'm going to do it because why not?